Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's Brad Jones. I am doing my best to upload a video a day in my first week trying YouTube. It's funny watching a bunch of like how to do your YouTube channel videos. And, it's interesting. I have no shade to people who work hard producing very complex videos and all of that. But I don't really have the time to edit, a really crazy in-depth video with lots of cuts and all this kind of thing. I'm just here to share my thoughts about living in that thing as a solo traveler. So I've been trying a few different things. Yesterday's video was pretty long. Today's I'm probably going to try to keep pretty short. But if you're into it, please say hi in the comments, subscribe, like, all that YouTube shit. Okay, so today I want to talk about not giving a F. And I usually have a potty mouth, but I think you get, shunned or something on YouTube if you start dropping a bunch of F-bombs early on in your video. So I don't give an F, IDGAF, about most things. And I think if you're considering RV life, or I would probably even say this applies to like van life, digital nomading. I want to talk a lot about digital nomading since I've done a little bit of that sort of without a dragging my house behind me too. But specifically when it comes to RV life, you really have to decide what you're going to care about and what is going to get you worked up, and reduce that list down as much as humanly possible. And this is really difficult to do for somebody like myself who has lots of opinions about lots of things. If you know me, I got an opinion. And I am trying to, I just turned 40 this year, right? In my old age here, get to the place where I have strong opinions loosely held, right? But this is more about reducing the number of things that will sort of keep you up at night or keep you from being happy. So an example of this, right, is I had a girlfriend years ago who had to sort of live their best Instagrammable life, right? She wasn't like an influencer or anything, although we made a little furtive attempt at travel blogging together until we broke up. But everything had to be sort of just so, right? And a good example of this was like we were going to a baseball game one time, and I just had a t-shirt on, just like this, right? Teton CrossFit, out of Rexburg, Idaho. That's a whole story in and of itself. I prefer to, this is the kind of souvenir I like to pick up, right? Something that has utility. I was wearing a t-shirt. We were going to go to this baseball game together, and she looked at me and she was like, "Is that what you're going to wear?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a baseball game. What gives?" And she's like, "Well, could you wear a polo? Could you wear something, more presentable?" And it's like, it's a fucking baseball game. I guess we're 3 minutes, 48 seconds in. I guess I could start dropping F-bombs. And, that's a great example of the kind of life choice that you make about what you were going to care about. How do you care about people's perceptions of you? And this ties into something I mentioned yesterday in my video about loneliness and isolation. And if you haven't seen it, right, I talked toward the end about dealing with people's misunderstanding of you and your choice to live in an RV and nomad around and not care about, right? The silent part I didn't mention there is you are making a conscious choice not to care about shit that they care about. And a lot of that is appearances. And so that's one piece, right? The other is you have to decide how much you care about having a really fashionable wardrobe. You have to care about how varied you want your diet to be. right? If it makes sense for you to be able to just buy the same groceries every time you go to a grocery store, because every grocery store you go to is going to be laid out different, and you just want to be able to get in and out and not futz around, and you want to be able to not really think about. That's kind of how I roll, right? And some people, that's important to them. You have to decide. None of these things, you can care about whatever you want to care about. It's just the list has to be pretty short, right? So like, I care about keeping my RV clean, because keeping it clean means that I'm looking at all of the things that can shake loose and get broken and all of this kind of thing on an RV. But also it's a small space, and I don't want to feel claustrophobic, right? So I, despite being a single guy, right, clean quite a bit, but not obsessively. If you looked inside the RV right now, there's stuff that needs to get put away. But, every time I move, the thing is pretty spotless, because it has to be, and that's something I care about. But, being super fashionable and even, shaving on a regular basis, not something I care about, right? Keeping your tow vehicle super spotless, right? Not something I care about. I've made a choice about that. But you can care. There's no shade if you care about things like, for instance, I care about still having relationships, like romantic relationships in my life. There are people who are nomadic and in their van or RV or whatever, that they just don't really care that much about it. Or, it's very low key. If they don't see their partner for a few months or something like that, no big deal. That's not me. I'm currently in a long distance relationship, but it's not the ideal. And I've explicitly said to her, it's like, that's not my goal long term. I want to be able to be with somebody. That's something I care about, but that comes at the expense. And I guess that's the last part about this observation I'm making for you about RV life, is that everything that you choose to care about, that is on your list of sort of non-negotiable things that are going to shape your decisions about RVing, comes at the expense of something else. If I want to be in a relationship, right, I have to make the effort, for instance, to find places to store the RV and like fly to see my girlfriend where she lives, right? Do I love doing that? Do I love going to see her? Yes. Do I love all of the stuff that it involves and the extra expense and everything else? No, I don't. But it is the price I pay for having something that I want, right? If I want my RV to be really clean, I got to spend time working on that. If I want to be able to boondock, I have to spend the expense, right, to put these, these solar panels, right, on the RV. That's at the expense of spending money on something else, especially when money is tight. So I'm sure there's lots of other examples, right? I didn't mean for this to be like let me list you all of the things that I care about. The observation here is, you have to decide what it is that you're going to get worked up about. And one last example of this, right, and we'll try to keep this to less than 10 minutes, see how the algorithm likes that, is things are going to break. Things are not going to look exactly the way you want. Things are going to not look new forever, right? This sort of gets back to that example I said at the beginning about having to have everything be sort of very Instagrammable, right? One day I'll do a video about like my washer and dryer. I have a washer dryer in there. I even run it when I boondock. It's great. Even the dryer. It had the washer and dryer didn't have a leak, but the piping back there, right? The manifold, the bib wasn't screwed on all the way from the factory, because these things are built like shit. And I didn't notice until I noticed a little bit of the sort of faux wood covering, whatever, that's on the pressed, the OSB, whatever, in here that they make the walls out of, and the trim, it started peeling off, right? Water damage, and the carpet was wet, right? Well, I found out the leak, no big deal, no structural damage, anything like that. But I had to, basically peel off all of that covering. So there's a little piece of trim there that doesn't have that on there anymore. Do I love that it looks like that? No. It kind of looks, shitty. But am I going to lose sleep over it? No, I'm not, And some people I know would be perfectionists about that, like in their home or something like this, sticks and bricks. You can't do that when you're RVing. So anyway, that's my observation for today. I'd love to know what it is that you do and don't care about that's on sort of your list, and what those things come at the expense of. And we'll do this again tomorrow. All right. Like and subscribe and all that I was going to say RV, YouTube stuff. And take it easy.